Hello everybody, Briefcase here once again, bringing you your ESPL weekly series number 4. This time, we got one of the semifinals, the second semifinals going on between the Panthers and at least two Canadians on Bag of Chips and Pepperoni. Ooh, I love that name. Of course, a sheep is their logo. Can't get over just how good it is. Joining me today is my lovely co-caster Mito.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the logos, man. You have Panther on the one end, and you have a sheep on the other. Ooh.
I mean, we'll see how it goes. Pretty sure neither of those animals actually meet in the wild, but we'll see how they pan out today. Obviously, it's just a sheep. Technically, they're just a bag of chips and pepperoni. Not the most fearsome of names, but nonetheless, really interested to see how this game will be played out. Yesterday, the Panthers had a pretty commanding victory over their opposition. The bag of chips and pepperoni doing none too bad themselves, and now picking up a first pick Timber. Doesn't look like the start of any sort of big push strat by any means. Obviously, Timber is good at helping along those, but not too bad nonetheless. The Panthers, though, picking up Nature's Prophet and Marana. That's already looking to be kind of an annoying split push lineup, it seems.
Wow. Nick's Assassin, once again, being a top tier pick he is, will be picked up in the second, as a second pick for Bag of Chips and Pepperoni. And just a pointer, Bag of Chips and Pepperoni, that still just spells food, you know? I don't know if Panthers eat those stuff, but...
I'm sure they would. I'm sure they would eat pepperoni at least.
Well, it's still looking pretty strong, but similarly, the Nick's Assassin, these two heroes, I wouldn't say the lanes are given away, but one of them will be going to the off lane, or actually, it's hard to say. You might see a support Nick's Assassin, and maybe an off lane Nick's Assassin, mid Timber, off lane Timber, so plenty of different possible variations and outcomes. Whereas Nature's Prophet, picking Nature's Prophet directly after a Timber Saw pick, they must be really comfortable with this hero, as well as being really confident. But it does set up nicely for the Mirana arrow, but I love the Nick's Assassin pick. You're gonna see the arrow fly most of the time, and you will have the time to react with either Spike Carapace or simply moving out of the way. Yeah, so that will be the first two picks. And I'm actually surprised Panthers chose to ban out the Dragon Knight themselves, because their lineup, the first two picks, Nature's Prophet, Marana, can definitely incorporate a Dragon Knight into their draft.
Definitely, indeed. And I mean, I guess I can't seem to think exactly what Panthers might be wanting to do. Obviously, Nature's Prophet and Marana are just two strong heroes in and of themselves, but they don't, at least to me, scream any particular strat other than the fact that obviously Nature's Prophet can rat Dota to his heart's content, and I suppose with Moonlight Shadow, Marana can do something fairly similar for the rest of his team, but I think things will obviously get a little bit more clear after these next few picks coming up. Bag of Chips and Pepperoni, though, a lot of burst available already to their lineup. Nick's Assassin with a nice stun as well, but Timbersaw, I mean, he does shut down a few heroes from being viable, like Huskar. Is Huskar, he is in Captain's mode now, right?
He is, absolutely.
He is, but I mean, now that Timbersaw's on the field, you'll never see him.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm still hoping to see a Huskar counter pick to say an OD. But nonetheless, Nick's Assassin, it does shut down the Nature's Prophet pretty nicely as well. Just constantly hunting for him in the jungle, in the lanes. That's assuming if Nick's Assassin does okay in the early stages. If Nature's Prophet get way out farmed, then of course you won't see the Knicks do very much.
No, yeah, not at all. But yeah, that's really what it feels like as well. If Nature's Prophet gets off to a bad start, he doesn't feel too strong until later in the game. Same with Nick's Assassin as well, but he can always set something up. And now Shadow Demon being picked up, and I mean, that's going to be your lane partnership right there. Marana, Shadow Demon, they still, I mean, technically they could still get a Bane and have a million arrow magnets, basically, if they want to, but probably unnecessarily. Shadow Demon, though, I mean, I've always loved this hero, very, very strong. Really does put a crimp into things for people like Anti-Mage, completely ruins him, and a lot of carries, a lot of DPS right clickers, they actually have a pretty hard time against, one, their own illusions, and something like a Lifestealer. Demonic Purge still deals with him very nicely as well.
Yeah, well, to me, you called it out. I'm just looking at Panthers and I'm thinking, Alright, AM is gonna be picked up. Almost guaranteed. Like, you've got the split pushing, you've got the Shadow Demon Illusion just trying to, like, deal the damage on the terrace, but instead, ooh! So now we're looking at offlane Mirana. Shadow Demon Sand King, that's a brilliant combo, but it's just, for me, they're the ones who should have picked the Bane Elemental and ban out the Shadow Demon instead, because what are you going to do about the Nyx Assassin unless you choose to never go on that hero? Or what you can do is you hold out on the stun and you just disrupt him as soon as he come out. There's no spike carapace, wait for it, chase him down, since you can like move in close, right? And then go for the Burrow Strike afterwards, then that can potentially be a kill. But they could potentially go for aggressive tri-lane as well. Shadow Demon, Sand King, Mirana. That is no joke.
Oh yeah, not by any means. And I would love to see a farming Sand King when it comes down to it. I mean, nothing would make me happier. But, I mean, Sand King in and of himself, this is something that a lot of people don't think about, I think, when you do see a Sand King on the field and no dedicated mid as of yet, is you might feel, oh, I can go greedy, I can send something like a Brewmaster mid or some sort of melee mid, and Sand King is one of those heroes where he can punish melee heroes in a one-on-one situation just tremendously with Caustic Finale. Lifestealer, though, now is picked up. Shadow Demon, his Demonic Purge does deal with him fairly well, but obviously the Bane no longer in the pool to actually completely hard counter him, so I think the Lifestealer, I mean, he should be having a pretty good time. Nature's Prophet can still technically get him in some trees if he targets the ground, though.
Ooh. They need to ban out the Storm. They have to ban out the Storm. Nature's Prophet is so prone to heroes like Nyx Assassin and Storm Spirit, and if Panthers, they're looking for the kind of lockdowns they are, they have to get rid of a Storm. I don't know, I'm making a lot of predictions this game once again, but I feel like Storm is this hero they need to ban.
You know what? I agree with you, though. Like, Shadow Demon and Mirana, those two heroes that can actually kind of get away sometimes and what have you, they're still pretty squishy, and Storm really capitalizes on that.
Yeah, and Bag of Chips, they can ban out AM. They don't have to if they want to play more aggressive, but I mean, Storm does get countered by AM towards a later portion of the game, but they ban out the Viper. Ooh. Bag of Chips, man. This is, to me, it's just screaming Storm Spirit, and then Panthers is like AM, AM, AM. Hopefully I'll be right, and then we haven't made any bets for a really long time, have we?
No, we have not. But I think the thing is that if Panthers did pick up AM, Bag of Chips, more than happy to actually let that happen, because with Bane getting in there with a sleep, Nyx Assassin able to follow up with a stun and mana burn, and the fact that Timbersaw's damage is pure, they're really not too worried about him being this tanky god, obviously, and they kind of have enough CC in just the Bane and Nyx Assassin to make sure that he didn't get away. But now a TA has been picked up, and I mean, who do you think they're going to run mid against a TA? What would your preferred option be?
Ooh.
Nice.
Storm doesn't sound that good anymore.
No, he doesn't.
There's still plenty of options. So you definitely don't want to run the puck. So it's like a block pick from the Panthers. They pick out the Templar to prevent heroes like Storm and Puck being picked up. But then, once again, Bag of Chips, they can rotate the lanes around, play it in a completely different style, run dual mids. That's not so bad as well. Run Nyx Assassin plus the Storm Spirit dual mid, just burn out the mana of Templar Assassin, and then rotate the Nyx back to the lane. Then Storm would be fine. But apart from that, if you just simply want heroes to deal with Templar, even a Slug can do it, but a Slug's already banned out, so you still have heroes like Venomancer, just anything with damage over time.
Venomancer's banned out too, buddy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, baby!
Woohoo!
So, I mean, like I said, maybe they could do a farming TA if they want, solo offlane TA and send Sand King to deal with Brewmaster mid and really punish him.
Oh, no. Brewmaster does fine against Templar.
It could happen!
You just need to throw out the Drunken Haze.
It could happen. Well, nonetheless, let's get into who's actually playing who on these Panthers. We got T playing the Templar Assassin. That's an easy one for sure. Looks like we have Senior Hydra going to be this Mirana, Shiny going to be the Shadow Demon, Kipo as the Sand King, and Kriz going to be playing this Nature's Prophet, getting an early Blades of Attack for himself. And Mito, my man, would you like to take Bag of Chips and Pepperoni?
Oh yeah, so on the Radiant team, we have Bag of Chips, and as the offlaner, they have Facto Fiction playing as a Timbersaw. We have the mid solo Brewmaster played by Newsham, and down at bottom We have Shredder playing as a carry lifestealer. They have a stand-in called Jar playing as the Bane Elemental. And finally, we have Tabo playing as the Nyx Assassin support.
And this Tabo, he needs to be careful here. Not quite a smoke by any means, but this is a very scary lineup to actually go up against. And they see him now. If he tries to stay here and fight this, he's going to be eating an arrow. He gets stunned at the very least. Arrow as well to follow up, and that's an easy first blood for the Panthers there. And bam, off to off to a little bit of a lead, not too bad for any of them. And with that going the way of TA, I mean, Brewmaster's going to have an even harder time mid. Like you said, he does have Drunken Haze available, and he can constantly spam that, or as much as his mana will allow, but he's actually only gotten Thunderclap now. So, I mean, probably just going to be using that to last hit, I'd think.
I'm really wondering, though, the Templar Assassin, he's got a T in his name, and then it's like an underscore J. So is it TJ, or is it just T? Or is it TI?
Maybe it is T. Maybe it's just T. I don't know. Hard to say. I want to say it's just T. I'm going to be calling him T.
I see a J.
It is a J, I think. It's probably a J.
So, is it TJ?
Could be TJ. Detweiler? Oh,
Yeah,
baby.
so we have a disconnect.
Recess, if anything.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I actually know the reference you're making. Holy crap. That was an old school like show, right?
Dude, yeah. Did you watch Recess?
Yeah, man, from time to time, but it was in Chinese once again.
I was gonna say, it wasn't Chinese though.
Yeah, I saw it in fiction, so it's fine. I saw
Oh my God, you've turned into a robot, Mito. Oh my God, all it is robotics. I can't hear you at all, buddy. It's a good thing it's happening during the pause, because damn, I could hear barely anything. Alright, well, I mean, at the very least, we have a pause during this small amount of problems going on, and it looks like Mito's actually dropped from this conversation, so he'll be back shortly. In fact, it looks like everything has crashed now. Not terrific by any means. We'll see if we can't make this work out, and there it is. Hopefully everything works out, folks, while there is problems going on. Oh, but everything's paused nonetheless, so it doesn't look to be too bad when it comes right into it. Alright folks, let's just unmute the co-broadcaster option, and hopefully everything will be good. Mito, are you there? Can you hear me? Ooh, baby. Not terrific start, for sure. Can you hear me? I cannot hear you, Mito. Rough as all hell, everybody. This is incredibly rough. Looks like nothing is working, and the server that me and Mito use to actually talk to each other seems to have crashed. So hopefully we can sort everything out in the meantime. Looks like we have a reconnect And while that's happening, we're going to try and start up Skype. I'll still be trying to give you as much play-by-play as humanly possible, but in the meantime, I mean, we'll see what we can do.
Oh, I can hear you. I can hear you type. It's all good.
You can hear me? I can hear you too.
Wonderful. Okay.
It's not,
Let's get back into the
not
game.
as good as it once was, but that's okay, and we'll continue to try and bring you slightly better audio in the future, everybody. In the meantime, though, let's get back into the game, and now I can turn off Skype, because obviously Skype is a huge nuisance when you're trying to do this sort of thing. But Mito, you're here? You can hear me?
Yep, absolutely loud and clear. So we have aggressive trialing coming out Panthers, and this is just the way we predicted. I'm loving this very, very mid-game-centric and aggressive lineup.
Oh yeah, and it looks like Josh trying his very best, obviously, to make sure that Senior Hydra does not get those last hits. And with minus 30 damage, this Mirana is doing absolutely nothing, hitting for 16. That's actually less than a normal creep, so it's going to be very difficult for her to find those last hits. In the mid, however, Panthers has already gotten a bottle because of that first blood going towards him, so he's going to be having a terrific time against Newham, or Newsham, it looks like. And as far as the top is concerned, when you go Timber against a Nature's Prophet, you need to be favoring that Timber pretty heavily, I suspect. As soon as he gets any points in reactive armor, those Trents are not going to be doing anything.
Whoa. Yeah, and he has a stout shield on top as well, so those Treants literally does no damage to him. He doesn't really care. It's just like, hit me please, I'm regenning more than you're actually doing. Yeah, so eventually this Timber Saw, if he gets 2 levels into reactive armor and then just level up that Whirling Death and some Timber Chain, oh, he's gonna... Yeah, Furion has to start making rotations bottom and helping them get kills.
Oh yeah, definitely indeed. And I mean, as far as the mid is concerned, Newsham still having a pretty difficult time, but not as bad as I would have thought. Panthers, though, I mean, he can basically command this lane whenever he wants. There is... I mean, Shredder's still doing his very best on the bot, not doing too terrifically, but he's not dying to this scary tri-lane, and that's really what you need to be most worried about with Disruption, with the arrow combo that they can do, and it looks like they probably could have just done it right there if they had wanted to, but nonetheless, doing none too bad at all. And Mito, I'm just going to briefly go into the audio settings, see if I can't bump you up a little bit. Voice volume is already at max, though, so that's not going to happen.
I have no idea what you just said. It just cut off, but I was thinking about, like, Panthers. Perhaps they could have thrown the Furion mid and then let the TA deal with the Timber Saw. That might have been a better choice. I don't know. It really depends, but sooner or later, I feel like the Furion, either the supports have to rotate top to help him, or he is going to rotate bottom to help their trialing just completely dominate.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's something that is always worrisome when you see in a lane. And now it looks like Tabo actually in a heap of trouble, gets stunned, gets arrowed, does get soul captured as well, and will actually melt. Too many stuns falling on him. And now who can get some good body block? Shiny doing an amazing job at the thing, just saving up, and now Shredder in a heap of trouble as well. Does have rage, so he will get out of this one? Not at all. And can't quite get out of there in time. The rage not going to help him there through all those right clicks, and maybe even Enfeeble had gone down a little sooner, he might have lived, but I mean, that is not the case.
That was so costly. He expended his salve as well, but it wasn't enough to keep him alive.
Ouch, very rough indeed. And now it just seems like Panthers, what I was about to say was, I mean, when you do have a tri-lane going up against what has been mostly a duel because the stand-in Ja has been pulling and doing whatever he possibly can to help, if you're not getting kills, you're basically coming out slightly behind. You are denying this lifestealer some good farm, but you really do want to be finding kills with such an aggressive-looking tri-lane.
Oh no. Bag of chips, they just block their own pull camp, so nothing's gonna be spawning right there. Nyx Assassin walked there right when it's about to spawn, and at top we have a rune contestation between Newsham and TJ. And now, okay, Brewmaster, he's gonna have a really good time, just constantly throwing out the Drunken Haze and then using Thunderclap. Then yeah, there's nothing TA can do. It's just gonna be miss after miss after miss.
Oh yeah, I mean, Nusham's though still not opting to do it too much. He's now just waiting to make sure that he can use this regen rune to greatest effectiveness, and maybe even trying to wait until he can actually have it going and thunderclapping at the same time. Up top, however, you have Factor Fiction really going down deep, trying to make sure that Chris suffers for basically just being Prophet against Timbersaw. He does have Chakram at level 6 now, so not too bad for him by any means. Nusham taking quite a bit of damage from TA, but of course, just popping that easy regen rune, gonna make things easy for him, and does indeed use that Thunderclap while he's regenning, so he's gotta be enjoying that. But as far as the mid is concerned, yeah, TA's leading ever so slightly, but by no means is Nusham doing poorly here.
Oh, Furion, he's having such a rough time at top. And Fact of Fiction almost has that arcane boots, and once he gets it, what is the Nature's Prophet gonna do? We have to start seeing more rotations, but the good thing is they are completely dominating the aggressive trialing. So looking at the last two difference, you have 16-3 on Mirana and only 10-3 for the Lifestealer. And as an addition, they also have a couple of kills. So Mirana has 1 kill, 2 assists, and Shadow Demon also has a kill. So they're getting decent levels in this
Nusham needs to be
scenario.
very careful here. He does get stunned. Is he going to get burst down before? Looks like they use the Nature's Prophet ult to try and guarantee it, but now trying to turn things around along with it as well. Tabo here can't quite find a kill on anybody. Panthers, though, very low. Actually doesn't have quite enough mana to meld and get away. And now this Panda looks like he's actually going to suffer for staying here so late. Does throw out a stun onto Panthers, but Kipo does have a stun available. Can't quite land it onto Nusham, and now he's bottling up. Does get a nice little clap there on Kipo, but Tabo just barely getting out of here, and a rotation out of Kriz. Is it going to be a double kill? It could be. Panthers not quite enough mana to use Refraction or anything, and now in a heap of trouble because of Shredder, and now, ooh, Meld just enough to get through that. No Infest going down from Lifestealer, and Nusham not quite enough to throw down a Thunderclap there to get that kill. So Panthers, TJ playing very nicely, just barely getting out of there with his life.
Oh yeah, so that was a lot of action at mid, but nothing much came out of it. But good plays from both sides. Perhaps Brewmaster. I don't know if he binded the heroes before this game, so maybe like when you see the first time someone plays Brewmaster, right, he always needs a bit more time to assign the keys and assign the groupings. But after that, there was some pretty nice micro.
Yeah, not bad by any means. And Brewmaster's just one of those heroes where if you can't burst him down, and we saw them trying to earlier, they used the Nature's Prophet ult, they used everything they possibly could. If you can't burst him down, you just know that he's going to be able to get away with Primal Spirit. And only until, I feel like, the later game, kind of 20 plus minutes, do you have a chance of even killing those pandas and stopping him from just spawning up wherever he chooses to go. Now it looks like Kipo's actually gone top against Fact or Fiction. Going to be a little bit difficult, even with when you Sandstorm, a Chakram is still going to fly right into you, and of course he does always know where you are, and Kipo actually needs to be a little bit careful here. Factor Fiction can do an obscene amount of damage to him if he really wants to. Throws out the Chakram, doesn't quite get the return damage, so not the best thing in the world, but now, I mean, Factor Fiction, he's been having such a good time up top, it just doesn't seem like anybody can really deal with him right now.
Yeah, brief by the way, apparently on the stream, you're too loud and I'm too soft. And no, that's not what she said. So, you need to fix that up apparently. And now they're going for a gank on Factor Fiction. Let's get through this first. Oh, there's a bonus strike.
Factor Fiction. Oh, has actually Timber Chains into that. Doesn't Whirling Death away from away from that Sprout. Now because of that, this hasted TJ going to be getting a double kill and not doing too badly at all. Now has a dominating streak. And so it looks like, if anything, I will turn down my mic ever so slightly. And Mito, it is very difficult for me to actually turn you up without turning the rest of the game up. So I'll see what I can do, my friend. Give me one moment.
Level is already at the maximum capacity, so there's no other way for me to turn it up. Yeah, so with the Furion as well as TA, they can pressure towers so efficiently. And you look at the top tower, is already almost falling. You just need a couple of more right clicks. But with the TP rotations, they will have to force out Panthers to retreat.
Oh yeah, TJ though doesn't seem to be having too much of an issue, it would appear, and can always meld to get out of this. Not sure if they have any detection, doesn't look like it, so, but always needs to be very careful of just chakramming from Factor Fiction. Now with the mana burn, does not quite have enough. There's the meld mana, though. Doesn't matter, though. Chakram doing a little bit too much, and nobody would TP in there. Instead, looks like Panthers opting to take down this tier 1 in the bot lane, which of course opens up the jungle quite a bit for the Dire side, so not a bad trade by any means. And Mito, I have bumped you up now because of how we're doing. We have to do this cast now. Not the end of the world, but you should be substantially louder now.
Thank you very much. It's one of those rare moments where things don't just quite go the way you hope it would, but nonetheless, we're getting a great game. 10 kills in 10 minutes, and be interesting to look at the goal graph. Wow, goal graph, it's in favor of Panthers, but if you look at XP graph, Bag of Chips is actually leading.
Ever so slightly, though. Not the end of the world. Not really a drastic change, and now it looks like they're actually going to try and sneak a very quick and pretty early Roche, and they can do this, obviously. They got that Mirana arrow for the stun. They have this meld armor reduction, and with tanking Trents, I mean, this is just a very easy kill for them if they want to. Doesn't look right now like Bag of Chips really realizes too much about what's going on. Panda maybe has some suspicion, and he's phase boot overing there just right now, and it looks like now they have indeed figured it out. Tabo pops the Vendetta, tries to get in there. A sentry goes down immediately, but the Roche is falling just too quickly. And now, what follow-up is there? Arrow flies, doesn't quite land on anybody. Tabo now in a heap of trouble. They get the Roche, and it looks like they're going to get a Tabo for their troubles as well. Nusham can't do too much. Nice little Mirana pounce onto Shredder there. Not too sure what is coming from that, and now it looks like Kriz is here as well. Shredder trying to TP out of there, does indeed get it with that rage, but Nusham just falling to the burst of Panthers, and Panthers, I mean, they've got to be loving that. They get the Roche, they get 2 kills, and this is going to be an easy tier 1, it looks, for them as well.
So this is such a momentum-based lineup, and they have that momentum with them. Every time they hit kills, they have a Fury that can just help them push towers. And there's so many ways of engaging Moonlight Shadows. Oh man, I want to see a Moonlight Shadows into Epicenter. That would be epic. Epic center. Yeah, so... Oh man, your reaction, so slow. I'm disappointed, bro. But yeah, see, they're getting all the core items starting to come up. Sand King, he's only about 1,000 gold away, and now they're giving him some space to farm up for that Blink Dagger of his. And yeah, Furon will be starting to get his next set of items. TA, he's pretty fat, probably rushing that Deso of his. I don't see any reason why he shouldn't rush the Deso. There's nothing that can really proc his refraction all that much.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's not too much really when it comes right down to it. And sleep is what I want to say, it is damage. So I mean, that might be able to deal with it. Chakram goes down. Looks like the arrow doesn't quite land on its target. And there's the Demonic Purge, however. Factor Fiction can't move too quickly now. He needs to do whatever he possibly can. Some nice bursts coming out of him, however. Tabo is here, misses the stun, however, and it looks like Shiny continuing on his merry way. While that's happening, you have Nusham running around from the back. Kipo very low indeed, but does help and get a kill on that Bane there. Timbersaw, though, does finally find Shadow Demon, and now Nusham finding whoever he possibly can. Tabo very low as well. Senior Hydra trying his very best to continue going on, and does quite a nice little bit of burst there to finish off this Timbersaw, and with that, it just looks like they are going to retreat, it would appear.
Both sides have a lot of heroes that are so
Tabo eats an arrow after everything is said and done, and now falls to Senior Hydra. Beautiful arrow there out of him as well.
Oh man, the mixture of physical plus magical burst coming out of Panthers is just ridiculous. But on the other hand, CBP, they have very nice bursts of their own. I'm looking to see the next assassin make big plays with their Lifestealer Bomb. They need to start utilizing this advantage. But if you look at the trap placements, they've been placed in places like, especially the one over here, it gives great vision. And you might even be able to scout out a couple of smokes or dust. I mean smokes, no dust.
Couple smokes or dust. Or as you say that, Kipo just sandstorming up those creeps, and now he's got a Blink Dagger. And I mean, that's just going to open the ganking potential of this lineup wide open.
Oh, it was so close. I thought he was going to die in that fight, but he just gets a Burrow Strike and then just walks out safely. And once a TA with this kind of advantage, he starts putting trap in every single jungle camp. Then it would just what's the word? It'll compress all the farming space for Bag of Chips. And this is a very different playstyle that we've seen from Bag of Chips. Yesterday we saw them just going for all-in push strat with Lycan and Dragonite, but this game they've opted for something more of a gank-oriented more than anything else.
Yeah, more than anything, I have to agree with you. And like you're saying, they kind of do need to start making use of these Lifestealer bombs and really pushing that advantage that they have, because, I don't know, the longer and longer it looks like this game is going to go, the more and more I feel Panthers are just going to be able to split push, make some big plays happen, and overall just come out on top. And I mean, they do have some nice pressure available to them right now. Kipo's finished off that Blink Dagger, obviously, hiding in the trees very nicely as well. And it just feels like Panthers are dictating the way that this game is being played right now.
And that's a Deso on TA. So these towers, they're going to go down fast. And, well, the Chakra might keep it, might stall it for a tiny bit, and it looks like Nusham
Arrow
needs
flies,
an arrow.
lands on Nusham, always does have his little primal spirit to get
And
away if need
epicenter.
be. Tabo trying to do his very best. There is an epicenter right in the middle of Factor Fiction and Nusham. Neither of them actually falling, just a slightly too tanky. Ja, though, with almost a full Fiend's Grip on TJ. Doesn't really matter, though. He didn't really seem to mind at all. Factor Fiction still doing a lot of burst. Does fall in a blaze of glory, however, but TJ trying his very best. It looks like the Panda trying very, very hard to make sure TJ doesn't get out of this one alive. But pops the Aegis. Of course, he still had that. Shredder caught in some trees. Factor Fiction buys back, tries to get right back in here. Chris now in a heap of trouble. Doesn't have any way to TP out of here, but Shiny is there, obviously, to disrupt his friend. Shredder needs to get out of here very quickly. TJ splitting up where he's supposed to be going. Isn't quite too sure. Factor Fiction almost able to polish off this Shiny and obviously make him a little bit shinier. But it looks like this push still continuing, and when everything is said and done and the dust settles, Timbersaw dies twice, and it doesn't look like a single Panthers hero actually fell there.
I think Furion bought back, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Just want to quickly look at the buybacks. Yeah, so Timber bought back, Furion bought back. Yeah, so there was a kill. Oh,
My bad.
You should have seen the TA almost just 3-shot the Lifestealer. Oh, the amount of burst coming out from that hero is just... Whew, mind-blowing.
Well, I mean, I believe it. Shredder, he's sitting at 3 armor when you factor in Meld and Deso. What? You're sitting at 7 and 8, minus 15. He's going to be at minus 12 armor just in generally. Now it looks like they have slept TJ, trying to set up anything they possibly can. There's the Drunken Haze, just trying to make sure that they can maybe get a Thunderclap in there. He is dusted for not any longer. If he wants to Meld, he definitely can, but the Refraction doing an obscene amount of work. Where is the dust? Oh, that's right. It's on cooldown. They do have sentries available, and with that, they are going to find a TA. And, I mean, that's one hero that they really need to kill, but Chris, doing exactly what a Prophet usually does. Now Ja finding him, can't quite get the Fiend's Grip off in time, tried very hard, not too sure if he's going to be able to get him, and is able to TP out of there with his life, it looks like.
Oh, this is just such a cheeky Frost Staff from the Furion. I'm loving it. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to get a couple of right clicks on the tower. Oh, you're going to TP in. I'm going to Frost Staff. Boom. And he's out of trouble.
Oh yeah, just barely out of there. Senior Hydra throwing down some nice arrows. I mean, obviously, that's how you want to play it. Throw down those arrows as soon as you see some melee heroes going in for that last hit on the ranged creep. And just working out quite nicely. Panda's going to pick up a nice little regen rune for his troubles. But, I mean, so far, if we look at the gold graph, Panthers leading this game quite substantially. Experience not quite as telling, but, I mean, it feels like it's a little bit, I don't want to say losing battle, but very difficult for Bag of Chips to come back here and really deal with this. They're kind of a nice ganking-oriented lineup. They should be able to deal with this Nature's Prophet fairly effectively, but the 4 heroes, they're just creating so much space for this Nature's Prophet to split push that it just feels like Bag of Chips needs to dedicate every single ounce of basically resources and hero power to dealing with Sand King, Mirana, TA, and Shadow Demon.
As a matter of fact, I actually feel CBP are not doing that bad. They just need to hold out the towers, and oh wow, okay, this isn't good. Fact of Fiction got stunned by an arrow, but their heroes are so tank. They will be able to take on fights later on. I mean, they're not doing so bad. They just need more farm and more time. The longer this game drags, then the heroes into the later portion of the game, I think it will be Panthers who will be the ones in trouble. I mean, you look at Brewmaster, he's so tanky, and you want to try and kill him. If you can't burst him down, he's going to turn on the Primal Split, and turn on you instead. And Timbersaw, the nature of the hero, is another tank. And then Lifestealer, nothing much of you said. Bane, a very tanky support. And Nyx Assassin, you've got so many spells that keeps you alive. You've got Spy Carapace, you've got Impale, you've got Vendetta, and after you get the Blink Dagger, then you would be pretty like strong in those ganks as well, fighting those pickoffs. So I feel like Panthers, they need to grab the next Roshan, and once that's done, they need to put on the full 5-man pressure.
I mean, yeah, that does sound good. Ja, though, I mean, maybe a little bit too far out of his base. This is a very deep smoke gank that they're trying to do. Obviously, Kipo, with this Blink Dagger, he can set up anything he wants. TJ doesn't quite have a Blink Dagger of his own, and now realizing that this smoke probably not going to pan out as well as you would have thought, deciding to almost retreat. There's just a little bit of indecision coming out from both of them. But now that smoke obviously
they're waiting for the rotations at mid. Yeah, Mirana is pretty fat as well, saving up almost close to 3k gold. Yeah, Manta would be an ideal choice if you just want to chip away the tower. And then you can disrupt, and then you have like 4 Mirana illusions, or even TA illusions, just whacking away at the tower along with some Necrobooks. Oh, okay, he's not going for Necrobook, it's actually going to be an Orchid. That's a brilliant choice as well. I mean, but you have to have really fast hands. As soon as you see the Brewmaster blink in, you just need to use the Orchid right away.
Yeah, but I mean,
but then
it's going to guarantee a kill against him as well.
Yeah, it depends. If Brewmaster notices the Orchid, he can just blink in and don't go for the Stomp, just directly pop the ulti, and that's going to be very, very difficult to prevent.
Just what are you hiding?
Very true indeed, and obviously Panthers now just sneaking in a very quick and easy Roshan. The minus 12 armor coming out of both, just out of TA herself is obviously too much to deal with, and people have complained about that for a while, or at least talked about it, discussed it, that Roshan, once you have minus armor, is just basically a walk in the park. He's almost too easy to deal with throughout the entire game if you have like Slardar or Templar Assassin.
Oh, but he's already been buffed after like the 40-45 minute mark.
I know.
He continues to grow stronger. But everybody loves Roshan. He's like the best friend that you kind of just kill and steal everything he has.
Nice blink. New Sham in a heap of trouble. There's the silence on him. Yes, indeed. I thought for a second there he's actually going to be able to cast it. Couldn't quite do it. Now, with that pick off, you just have to basically give up this tier 2 tower. There's nothing you can do here.
Yeah, that's a little bit more time for Shredder to catch up in terms of farm. Hopefully he'll be able to pressure the tier 1 and his teammates can just defend. They don't have very good defensive heroes, and Vendetta is already being used up by Tabo to run away. And now, this pressure coming in, it's just going to be... Ooh, how are they going to defend against this push? They don't have a Blink Dagger on Nyx. His mana burn isn't spammable yet, because it has a 28-second cooldown.
Ooh, only level 1.
This is one of those times, yeah, where it might have been better to max mana burn first, to stall the push a bit more. Essentially, all they're using is this Chakram to stop the push.
Well, that's about like all they really have. Maybe an Infest, and obviously you can Thunderclap, but they don't really have too much anti-push as far as things are concerned. And it seems like the Panthers just happy to continue leading this game through gold at the moment. Pretty much the 3 core heroes right now on Panthers actually having more net worth than the Lifestealer, so they're all really enjoying how things are going at the moment. Obviously, Lifestealer doesn't need too much gold to really be a nuisance. You know, he gets an armlet, he gets, you know, 1 or 2 core items, and he's pretty terrifying to go up against. But it just looks like Panthers happy to just split push all day long. Have not seen too many Moonlight Shadows being used, however, huh? Kipo though, caught out. There's the Moonlight Shadow, doesn't really matter, and no gem being used. Or no gem on the field by any means, just lots of sentries, lots of dust as well.
Yeah, with with that kill, they can stop pressuring the mid tower.
Arrow flies, lands right on a New Sham. Now they're trying to catch him out, and with that silence, there's nothing he can do. And TJ absolutely melting him. Now Factor Fiction really does need to run out of here as soon as humanly possible, but instead they changed their focus onto Tabo, running into the trees. He's still got a nice little stun available and running around, but of course that very nice trap finding him does eventually fall to Nature's Prophet, who with that Orchid just is actually doing some pretty decent right click there. They still have the Aegis available on TJ, so they can really go in and let her tank up this tower, really push in and do whatever she wants against these heroes. And I mean, they're not really going to pay for it. Arrow flies, Factor Fiction does get out of there in time, doesn't quite land on anybody, and now it just looks like the Panthers knocking on Bag of Chips' front door, and it doesn't look like Bag of Chips, they don't have a really good way to deal with any push right now.
Yeah, and Panther, Shiny can still use aggressive disruption. Or defensive disruption, either way. Oh, there's actually Yule Scepter on Fact or Fiction. A very interesting choice for Timbersaw. Haven't seen that in a while. Oh, and that arrow.
It's an arrow, but now a nice blink in by Panda. TJ actually taking quite a bit of damage, but actually not melting too fast at all. Big epicenter, but gets immediately turned in, or I should say cycloned up there. Nothing too much coming out of that. Chris buys back right back into the fight, wants to make sure his Orchid is very useful, and with that buyback comes a few kills going his way, it looks like. Now Nusham, without obviously any primal split, it looks like he is in a heap of trouble. The buyback statuses, however, are not too grave. You still have Lifestealer available as well as a Panda. That's enough for at least one Blink and Infest Panda, but with that, I mean, this is going to be at least one lane of racks, and it looks like the Panthers are trying to gun for two, try to force out those buybacks.
Oh man, this is guaranteed 2 lanes of racks. When you Brewmaster, oh, okay, so there we go. That's the end of the game 1. G has been called.
I love that. And it's 2 lanes of racks, and oh, okay. And so there you have it.
Panther has beat the sheep.
There you go, Panther. Clearly you can win against the sheep. Clearly the Panther eats the sheep, and not only that, looks like Panthers like pepperoni themselves. So of course this has been the ESPL Weekly Series number 4. I've been your caster Briefcase along with the lovely Mito, and I mean, a few audio issues. It looks like our TeamSpeak server has crashed almost wholeheartedly, but we will continue to bring you some nice casting through the game, and hopefully everything sounds okay, folks. So don't go anywhere. Game 2 will be coming up, and we'll try and make everything as lovely and perfect for you as possible. So stay tuned.